My name is Mr. Charles, and this is the Upbeat Academy online tutorials. We're discussing how to create with MIDI today. This is a continuation from lesson 4. And what we're going to do first things first is we're going to start from a new session. So Command N, if you're working in Ableton, open it up. For me, I'm going to press Command N. I don't want to save this current thing I'm working on. Let's don't save, delete. Let's start fresh. Okay, so to review, in the last lesson, we discussed how to create using a MIDI drum rack, a MIDI instrument. What we're going to do today is we're going to first go through how to create a more complex drum pattern using the simpler and using our keyboards to play the drum pattern, as well as using the MIDI editing mode that we did before. So bear with me just one moment. All right, here we go. So how we want to begin this. First, we want to make this so that it's not as cluttered. So I'm deleting my 2 audio racks. If you have a return, delete those as well. We're going to just have a little quick review. We went over here to the drums, so check the file editor. You can't see that if it looks like this. Click this arrow here. We have this file editor here, this file tree, drums. We go to drum rack, right? So I brought this up, and then we're going to use those drums that we used in the previous video. And let's just bring this back in, and we're going to just create something really quickly. So I'm just selecting these, dragging them into the drum rack. And then, as we did with the bass from last time, all right. So left click, insert MIDI clip. Look how that brought up this MIDI editing mode, and we're going to keep this 1 bar. So, as we said before, snares go where? 1.3, 2.3, 3.3, so far. As long as it says 1.3, that first division, 0.3, that first 0.3. This can work as well, but that triplet. 1, 2. All right. Just that simple. 1/8 notes. On the 1/4. So check this out. Now we're going to just drop in our kick. 2-second beat. Extend this all the way out here, and let's listen to our bass. Okay. That was 2 seconds, right? Okay, but what if we wanted to take out certain elements of this? And we wanted to isolate it so that we can mix it together. As one track, we can affect everything at the same time by panning. That's fantastic. But what if I want my snares louder? Or I want my kick quieter? Or sometimes I don't want my kick to play? Well, this is where if we put it all in different MIDI tracks, it benefits us. So let's take out this drum rack. So select, delete. Let's delete the clip that we just did. Then we're going to delete this. Delete the clip that we just did. And let's start from here. Okay. So let's use these drum sounds, and we're going to use these in the 3 lessons that we do covering MIDI. Let's populate these tracks using the drums and then compose using those. So there's 6 sounds here. So let's make 6 MIDI tracks. Command-Shift-T on your keyboard, or Control-Shift-T if you're using a PC. Command-Shift-T on Mac, Control-Shift-T on PC. And once we get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 tracks, let's start to populate. To populate a MIDI track, to incorporate an instrument, what you need to do is select the MIDI track you want the instrument to go to. If you're using an audio sample and you're like, okay, I have a drum sound, or I have a melody, we can even use a melody. So check this out. You go to the sound, double click it, and it will bring up the simpler. I want to turn on my keyboard. So check this out right here, up here in it says MIDI, key, a piano icon, and a drawing icon. This is how we turn on the ability for us to play notes on our computer keyboard. So turn that on, and then we want to arm the track that we want to hear the sound from. So I'm clicking on this right here, and then you can just play on your keyboard. So see, I was able to play a different melody. The original melody just sounds like this. But because of it being in a sampler, in the simpler, we have the ability to play it on our keyboard. And notice how it's bringing it back to the beginning. Right? That's great. But what we want to do is we just want to do this with drums today, because when we're doing this, we have to be mindful about the tempo. Notice it's playing faster or slower based on the speed, based on the pitch. So higher pitch, faster it plays. Lower pitch, slower it plays. And the way I'm getting it to play higher and lower pitches is if you press Z or X on your keyboard, if you notice in the bottom it says computer keyboard, your current octave is C3 to D4, C2 to D3, and so on and so forth. So the default octave on Ableton is C3 to D4, because that's where middle C on the keyboard on the sampler is where the sample sounds natural. Okay, so let's go out of this and go put our drums in. And delete this. Okay, highlight the track. I'm going to go into this drum folder that I gave y'all. We're going to start with the kick drum. So highlight the track, select the track, double click the sound. All right. Now I can press on my keyboard and we can hear the sound. Next track. Adjust this a little bit. I want clap, kick drum, clap, snare, hat, open hat, bass. Clap. snare, hat, open hat, so this bankroll hat, and then of course our bass. Just to remind you, I want everybody to be on this one shot mode so that we can play everything. We don't have to hold on to the note. All right. Fantastic. So what we're going to do from here is we're going to create a pattern. The best way to do this, I believe, is to either play it on a keyboard or draw out the MIDI clip. But if you're limited and you don't have a MIDI device to play something, how can you manipulate the MIDI? Well, in Ableton, there's two ways to do this. You can either use your computer keyboard or you can draw it in. And we're going to go over both ways. So let's do the play it on our keyboard way first. If you're like me, you don't necessarily care for the metronome. It's an annoying sound. It's rhythmic, but playing along to this can be frustrating at times. So my suggestion is let's lay down something that keeps our pattern and our rhythm, and then we don't have to even use the metronome at all. Okay. So the best way for us to do this is we want to arm our track. We're going to start out with our claps. Make sure the metronome is on. Then what we're going to do is we're going to press this button right here. You see how when we turn it on, it's when it's off, it's squares. When we turn it on, it's circles. Circles mean record. Squares mean stop. Circle record, square stop. Okay. So let's record a clip. So remember, dance beats are 1, 2, all right, 1, 2, 3, 4. We're doing a house rhythm or disco. If we're doing traditional hip hop, we're doing halftime, so only on the threes. All right, 1, 2, 3. Right, you notice how that's half? So if opposed to 2, all right, 1, 2, 3, 4. There's only one clap per measure. Unless we want to spice it up, right? So let's bring a simple beat. Let's do four measures, one clap per measure. You know, notice that some of these I'm not putting perfectly on beat. And when you're done recording, press space bar to stop it. So when we want to edit this, we click on our clip. Say that 5 times fast. Click on our clip. Click on our clip. Then we want to adjust. Listen how fast that was. Okay, that one's fine. First, let's fold this. So go to the side, fold. Then we want to put these on 1/4. Command A, select all these notes. Command U to quantize. Or you can left click and press this quantize. Quantizing snaps it to the grid so it's perfectly on tune. So check this out. Listen before. See how it's a little early or a little late? If I quantize this, Command U, Control U. Watch that. See? Perfect. So Now we have a clap pattern, and that's going to allow us to remain on beat. So let's copy this to the snare and layer it. All right. So now what we can do is we can start to compose our instrumental without the metronome. So we're going to press insert MIDI clip for the hi-hat. And the reason we're doing this is because the hi-hat's a little bit more complex than playing out. We can sit there and we can go. But for it to sound the way we want it to sound, we're going to want to draw it in. So delete, left click, insert MIDI clip. Brings up the MIDI editing mode. If you don't see that for some reason, go down here to the bottom, click this window. Then what we want to do is we want to put a note. We want to change this to 1/8 notes. Fixed grid 1/8. B to bring up the pencil. And then we just click and populate it. Look at that. Okay. So if we want to get a little bit more complex, what we can do is we can make these smaller. Okay, it's a nice little bouncy pattern. So insert this clip. Let's go to 1/4. Open hats are always on the 1/4. Kick drum. Let's make this a two bar pattern. And let's start this with 1/16 notes. I think we'll be fine. Let's do a little triplet roll of 1/8 notes kicks here. That might sound nice, so check this out. Okay, fantastic. All right. Turn our kick drum down a little bit. Okay. Let's pick a melody now, because we can't do our bass without a melody. The bass has to follow what the melody is doing. It has to make sense. So let's grab a melody here. Okay, this is interesting. Let's try this. Change this complex mode. Remember we talked about the warping modes. Change this complex mode. Alright, it's not landing where it should land, so let's stress this out. Warp from here straight. Okay. Let's shorten this to 8 bars. Okay, let's listen to how this sounds on the drums. Okay. Let's add in our 808. So we're gonna put our C here. Let's stretch this to 4 bars. Put 1 C here, and let's start. Do a nice little triplet right here. So if you notice, the bass, look how many different notes I'm putting in here. I'm going from C, then I'm going, let's fold this so you can see. From C to F to D to G and then back to C. And the reason I'm doing that is because I want my bass to cover different melodic areas. All right, there we go. Okay, so now my beat seems a little simple. How can I remedy this? The way that I would remedy this is to use, I'm going to include in here a pack of MIDI hi-hats. So these are different hi-hat patterns that we can change our drums to. So watch this. So now I was able to spice up my instrumental just by dragging in different MIDI patterns onto the already existing track that we have here. Okay. So let's add in some extra background layers, background percussion. So let's bring in some audio loops now. So now I'm adding in some extra background percussion. This is just to give my. This is from that first lesson. Okay, so fantastic. And we have an instrumental. In this week's pack, I'm going to include the drums again, as well as the MIDI clips that we've used. So, final thing I want to make sure we do is we want to rename the clips to what they are. So this is our kick drum, because when we export this, I want to make sure that we know what we're doing with it. So this is our clap. We're going to call this snare. Hi-hat. Open hat. And we're going to call this 808 pattern. We'll leave these as they are because they're audio clips. So call this hi-hat pattern 2. And then hi-hat pattern 3. Okay. Okay. So, thank you for joining us today. I hope that everyone is doing well and that you're staying upbeat.